This one's going to be a little bit different. Well, in some ways, a lot different. Is it about a rocky, remote wilderness trail? A trail that at times seems like it's barely there? Yes. Is it about a majestic railroad bridge with a history that proudly echoes through more than a century of time? Yep. Is it about small communities in the Palmetto State that, while still holding on, are essentially modern-day ghost towns? Yes. Is it about crossing 20 wooden trestles in various stages of disrepair, some that should probably be condemned and rebuilt from scratch? Yes. Yes to all of the above. It's a rough, raw trail. It's a grand train trestle. It's small town South Carolina, and I do mean small. And it's one wooden bridge after another after another. Join me as I explore the Peak to Prosperity passage of the Palmetto Trail on this edition of Joyful Trails. I don't talk about it much, or at all, really, but since the first of the year, I've been on a bit of a weight loss and fitness journey. However, bike trail days are cheat days.
Amen.
We all know this, right? It's in the International Bike Trail Trip Handbook. Bike trail days are cheat days. It's the old 80-20 rule, you know? I mean, you gotta have some joy in your life. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And what a tasty step this is. By the way, I took this particular trip on Easter weekend. These are not Playboy bunnies, okay? They were dressed up for the holiday. Shout out to the ladies at Dunkin' Donuts in Simpsonville, South Carolina. Now I'm totally ready to go take on this trail. Between Newberry and Columbia, South Carolina, lies the Palmetto Trail's Peak to Prosperity Passage. Dig the alliteration on that. The Peak to Prosperity Passage of the Palmetto Trail. The trail follows along Crims Creek. My handy-dandy All Trails app took me to the eastern end of the trail, which begins at the Alston trailhead. Alston is an actual, honest-to-goodness ghost town. The interwebs describe it as an extinct town in Fairfield County. It was named after Joseph Alston, the 44th governor of South Carolina, but it was destroyed by a flood in the early 1900s. The post office closed in 1928, and now it's mostly just a trailhead, giving you access to not only the Palmetto Trail, but also to the Broad River. You'll find lots of parking here, as well as helpful signage with maps and trail info, a fix your bike station, and even some benches where you can sit and rest for a spell. Although sometimes the grass gets a little high. You're going to find out that trail maintenance is a bit of a foreign concept here at the Peak to Prosperity Passage. More about that a little later on. You'll also find some nice primitive campsites here at the Alston trailhead if you're a bike packer or a car camper. Just follow the rules and leave no trace, as they say. The Palmetto Trail itself, when you start at the Alston trailhead, begins with what looks like a boardwalk. But that boardwalk quickly turns into a spectacular, historic railroad bridge. A ride across the 1,100-foot Broad River trestle is unforgettable. Originally constructed in 1848 and opened to rail traffic in 1851, the bridge was flooded and rebuilt before being burned down during the Civil War. The current steel structure was built in 1904. This vintage railroad bridge provides spectacular views of the river, the occasional bald eagle sighting, and turtles who enjoy sunning themselves on some old trestle ruins that are still visible just beneath the surface of the water. There are informational placards on the bridge, and one of them tells the story of how a medical doctor by the name of C.A. Penner used to regularly cross the bridge by foot back in the day to treat patients on both sides of the river. Now, almost immediately upon leaving the railroad bridge, you'll happen upon a lending library, of course, where you can take a Bible study break, if you so choose. And when you see that lending library, you will know that you're just steps away from a tiny town called Peak. This is Peak, South Carolina. Located in Newberry County, Peak's population peaked a long time ago. Today, just 51 South Carolinians call her home, and she takes up 0.3 square miles. Peak was established in the early 1850s. to house the men building the Greenville and Columbia Railroad and their families. It was named for Railroad Superintendent H.T. Peak. The town was incorporated in 1880. Of course, I took a look around, as I am wont to do, and I gotta say, it seems like a pleasant little place to live, if you could make do without a Target or a Walmart. There's a playground, a post office, a pharmacy, a fire station, a town council, and at least one church. There's even a medical clinic, apparently operated by the descendants of Dr. C.A. Penner. How cool is that? Now, I have heard that Wilson's Grocery and Liquor Store in Pomaria offers some of the best hamburgers in the Carolinas. Is it true? Well, I intend to find out. Stick around for that and the scoop on what makes this trail so unique. But enough about bridges, burgers, and the broad river. We've got a trail to ride. It is the Palmetto Trail, the Peak to Prosperity Passage. Let's go.
Nothing is undoable. I cannot make it easier. If I could only slip through time, make my present bearable. If I could go back there and take you in my arms, tell you how I really felt, change the way it all played out. But man cannot go backwards, backwards, backwards. Bound to take it all in, falling forward. Still I wish I could go back. I wish I could go back. If I had welcomed you, understood the look in your eyes, spent less time perusing the hours, maybe turned my phone off for a while, could I have done right by you instead of idly coasting through? Spoke my love in bold letters, unfettered, saying what I really meant to. But man cannot go backward, backwards, backwards. Bound to take it all in, falling forward. Still I wish I could go back. could, I would do it over again. If I could, I would. If I could, I would do it over again. If I could, I would. If I could, I would do it over again. If I could, I would. If I could, I would do it over again. If I could, I would. Backward, backwards, backwards. Bound to take it all in, falling forward. Still, I wish I could go back. I wish I could go back.
Stick around for trail details, our exclusive Joyful Trails star rating, and our visit to Pomaria, South Carolina. Is it Pomaria or Pomaria? Pomaria? I'm not sure. I did ask a girl inside Wilson's, and I think she said Pomaria. So we're going to go with that. Our visit to Pomaria is coming up a little later on. Stick around. But first, I just love it when I get to meet citizens of Joyful Trails Nation out in the wild, such as Maureen, who said she's been a viewer since the early days of the channel. Really sweet lady. And this lovely and gregarious e-biking couple, Wayne and Patricia. We enjoyed a 10-minute conversation in the grocery store of all places. I gotta say it again, you tend to meet the nicest people on bike trails and at Publix. Now let's talk about this trail. There are basically 6 things that you need to know. Number 1, this trail is rough, rugged, and rocky. If you have a road bike with skinny tires, you may just need to skip this one altogether. I'm serious. The surface is varied. Sometimes it will be pine straw, sometimes cinder ash or finely crushed gravel. Sometimes it will just look like an old 2-lane dirt road on a farm somewhere. And sometimes you can barely even see the trail. More about that later. But the majority of this trail is covered with rocks. Not pebbles, rocks. Like big, chunky rocks. And at first, it's kind of fun. But after a while, especially on the return trip, you just get sick of being jostled and jarred. But if you're a person who likes to keep it raw and real, this may be just the trail for you. Number 2, if you're a bike packer who enjoys not paying for campsites, this just might be your trail as well. There are, I believe, 4 different organized campsites along the trail. Now, it's primitive, no water or electricity. But if you bike pack, you're used to that. There are picnic tables and a fire ring. Hey, what else do you need, right? Number 3, there are a ton of really cool wooden trestles along this trail, but some of them look to be disintegrating before our eyes. Disrepair is the word that comes to mind. You can see where some boards have been replaced here and there, but there's holes in some of the trestles. There's a lot of weather damage from storms and the sun. These bridges and trestles just need a lot of TLC. In fact, they look better on video than they really are in real life. And there's one that's pretty high in the air with no side railing at all. This one definitely is not safe for children. I even felt a little nervous on it. It's sketchy, not gonna lie. Don't get too close to the edge. Number 4, there are some road crossings that appear to be rural highways with infrequent traffic, but very fast-moving traffic. So be careful. And what you're looking at now is how these crossings appear. Looks like a farm gate blocking the trail, so you just squeeze through a little space on the right, cross over the highway, and find the trail on the other side. Number 5, there are visual reminders of the old railroad days all along this trail. I always appreciate that. I even saw where someone had placed an old railroad spike on this bridge railing. And number 6, maps and signage are good. There's not an overabundance of these things, but more than I expected on such a primitive trail. Check out this display. Aesthetically, it's a nod to the railroad of the past and gives you some history to digest if you're into learning things. And when you see that railroad display, you'll know that you're coming up on our next tiny town to explore. This is Pomaria, South Carolina. Population 127. The town sits on 1.05 square miles. Pomaria is in Newberry County and was first settled in the mid-18th century by German, Swiss, and Dutch immigrants escaping poverty and harsh conditions. Many of these immigrants are said to have brought with them the beliefs and ideals of their Lutheran Christian denomination. St. John's Lutheran Church still stands today and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Originally named Countsville, the town was established in 1823 and renamed Pomaria in 1840. The Columbia and Newberry Railroad came through in 1851, and the town was incorporated in 1903. Pomaria was the birthplace and boyhood home of Thurman Ruth, a famous entertainer who founded the Selah Jubilee Singers and promoted gospel music at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. But today, Pomaria seems to be a town that's basically on life support, to be honest with you. I poked around a little bit and I did find a post office, a food bank, and a Dollar General. But it seems like the most happening place in town is Wilson's Grocery, set to serve up some of the best burgers you'll find anywhere. By the way, you know you're in South Carolina when the gas station sells Clemson potato chips and hangs a race car hood advertising Coca-Colas. So I got me one of them hamburgers and I took it across the street to one of the few bright spots in town, the Pomaria Roadside Park. Pretty little park with some picnic shelters. Well, let me tell you, that hamburger was amazing. Not a joke, as Joe Biden would say. I can highly recommend the burgers at Wilson's Grocery, Beer, Feed, and Bait in Pomaria, South Kakalaki. If you're wondering about the length of the trail, it's about 11 miles one way, so 22 miles out and back. I'm about ready to bring this one in for a landing, but if you're still with me, thank you. Please like the video and leave a comment below. Stick around for our exclusive Joyful Trails star rating coming up at the end of the video. But first, a quick explanation. I originally rode this trail on Easter weekend, as you heard earlier in the video, Easter weekend 2025, but I had some technical difficulties while videotaping the trail, so I had to do it again. These things happen sometimes. I went back in July of 2025 to capture and ride the trail all over again. Now, back in the spring, I was riding along and happened upon something I've never seen on a trail before. A massive sinkhole. So that was wild. But I went around the traffic cone and just kept going until I came to the end of the trail, where it looked like a tornado had hit. I mean, look at this. Tree limbs everywhere with just the words "The End" on a smashed up wooden fence. And for some reason, the trail never gets to Prosperity. I don't know if that's on the to-do list for the future or what, but if you want to see Prosperity, South Carolina, you'll just have to drive there in your car. Well, when I returned in July, once I passed Pomaria, the trail got seriously primitive. The grass was so tall in places you could hardly see the trail. It was obvious that this eastern section is rarely traveled. It wouldn't be a bad idea for someone with the county to break out a mower every once in a while. Just give it a little trim, you know? I'm just saying. But this time the trail ended well before I even got to the sinkhole. So I turned around and headed back to the Broad River. So what do we think about this trail? Why should you ride the Peak to Prosperity passage of the Palmetto Trail? I'm conflicted about this one. It's rugged, rough, and rocky, with trestles falling down and ghost towns that are about to dry up and blow away. But at the same time, that's exactly what makes it awesome. That's what gives it so much of its charm. Makes it a really cool experience. And then the undisputed star of the show is that fabulous, lengthy, historic railroad trestle over the Broad River. I don't want to be too dramatic here, but you need to cross that railroad bridge at least once before you die. 4 stars for the Palmetto Trail in the South Carolina Midlands. I'm going to leave you this time with an uninterrupted trip across that railroad bridge, all the way across the Broad River, with no music, no dad jokes, no yapping at all. Just uninterrupted, beautiful views of the Broad River from that bridge. I hope you enjoy this. Enjoy the view. And don't forget, get out there and find some joy in the journey.